Hello everyone. Welcome to Module 7. Now we only have 2 more weeks of the semester, so I've opened everything in Module 7 and also Module 8, which doesn't have a whole lot in it because it's finals week and that's when we're going to be submitting our final project. But I do need to talk about Module 7 because this week, yes, it is an important and busy week, but don't be too overwhelmed with how packed this module is, because over half of it is just contains handouts and tutorials and things that will help you with your writing. So I'm not going to go over everything in too much detail, but I will touch on a lot of it. And so if we go back here to our overview, where am I? The overview right here. This is where I'm going to post everything, and this chart is just copied over from the syllabus, and it kind of outlines what the submissions are that we are going to be submitting this week, and kind of the things that we're going to be reading over. And so as we look here, you all have your research. Hopefully you have your research finished, because on Tuesday down here we have the library research worksheet where you're going to share the citations of the sources that you have found. And so now we are going to write this up into an informative or expository, those words are synonymous, they're synonyms, an informational essay, okay? But don't think that you have to have all of the APs finished before you start writing. Start writing that essay right now. Start writing down notes, plans, ideas. Grab the important content that you have in your sources and start getting ready, okay? Because each of these assignment posts will help you in your writing, but it won't replace your writing. It goes, they're in tandem, they're working in tandem, all right? So right here, I'm going to just overview what we're doing here. And revisit this page. Revisit the overview of Writing Project 3 now that you're done with your research. Watch this video. It's a pretty basic, honestly, a pretty, I'll say simple essay, but that doesn't mean it's easy. Simple is not the same as easy. Writing is very hard. And so it's really important to understand the assignment, that this is an informational essay. We are not sharing opinion. We're not making an argument. We are sharing information with our audience, okay? Down here, kind of breaks down, and it breaks down the components or the sections of this essay. So the introduction, that's going to have a thesis statement, has some good examples here of the type of thesis statements that we will use. Below that is going to be a synthesis of information. So that just says, what have you learned from your research, from the sources that you've read, and how can you bring that information together in the essay? But please remember, you're the lead author here. This isn't simply a quilting of quotes or a list of quotes. You are informing your audience. You have read, you're studying, you're learning something new from these sources, but then you step into the expert role yourself. And you are going to then share what you have found with your audience and then use those sources to back you up. Okay, that's key. Those sources aren't to replace your voice. Those sources are to back you up. So if you say something is interesting, or if you inform your reader of a point, you make that point first in your own voice and then you turn to the sources. Okay, so read over that information. And then if we go into next, I have a student example. Okay, it's a very basic student example. It's great for this type of project, especially for an 8-week class when we are having to do this so quickly. So look over that. I kind of have it annotated so that you can see the different sections. Honestly, I'm going to jump back out here and I'm going to have to scroll down. I'm sorry, because I'm not going to walk through all of these handouts. Here we go. Okay, so that's where that annotation, that's where that student example is. Right here is some information on how to organize an essay. Down here, these two, we need these, and these are important. This is a handout on introductions and a handout from conclusions. I've swiped them from University of North Carolina, so there's some references in them to Raleigh and the campus there, but these are some of the best handouts that I have found on writing effective introductions and conclusions. And each of these parts of the essay are so much more complicated than people realize, especially conclusions. Conclusions is just as important as the introduction, and yet that often gets neglected, or students just simply stop writing. and so read over those, okay? That will help you write a really strong essay. Also, the use of topic sentences. Okay, what are topic sentences? How do we use them in an essay? How do we use them to clarify the points that we're going to make in a paragraph and to connect all of those points together so our reader never gets lost? Keep that reader in mind. Keep that human reader in mind. A lot of times we just write, and I think that's kind of the effect of our educational system and how students are called on to write and then turn something in, write and turn something in, and they forget that there should be a human audience member on the other side that they are informing. And topic sentences help that reader follow along with your essay. Now these other three are very important points or handouts because we are going to be using them in our submissions. This is about, and they're so important. We need this. Please take the time to watch them. These two are about integrating quotes into our writing and also paraphrase, because quoting is not the most effective way to incorporate source material into our writing. Paraphrase is actually much, much stronger because that retains your voice. But quotes can be effective. They can be powerful, but we are not quoting. Copying and pasting large chunks of information into our essay is not quoting. That's not effective quoting. That's cutting and pasting. And so read over those. Watch those. A great video. And we're going to be using that, and also outlining using a TED Talk as an example. This is a really interesting and entertaining TED Talk. It's short, and Malcolm Gladwell uses the exact same type of organizing an outline for his talk as we will for our informational essay. So watch those. Tuesday night, get that library worksheet in. By Thursday night, this is a great exercise, an important exercise on how to then take all of that information and organize it in a way that could lead to an essay. Okay, this is the synthesis part. And mapping, this type of exercise can be very helpful. So you're going to take another piece of paper, maybe a big piece of paper, and the submission is simply going to be, well, I'll tell you what it is in just a second. So write your research question up here. And I know I have a lot of authors right here, but just use the authors that you've gathered and list each of the authors, list their title of their articles and what they've written, and then look at their points that they make in their articles. And just do a little bullet point of that point. Okay, this author, they mention this, and point B and point C. This author, they make about 4 points, list them out, just bullet points. Once you have them all in front of you, you can sit back and think, okay, what is the information that they share? What do I find most compelling, most interesting? What do I want to share with my reader? Because when we have it all in front of us, then it's easier to see what's interesting. And it's kind of easier to see, who kind of goes together, how they can kind of fit together. And so right here next, at the bottom of your map, you kind of think about, okay, if I'm going to share this information with a friend, if somebody was asking me, okay, you've done your research, now tell me about it. What are you going to tell them? Okay, so since your goal here is to share information about the common topic, consider what type of information your friend or audience would need to receive first, second, third, or fourth, because you wouldn't want to jump right into the middle of it. You'd need to maybe tell them what your topic is, define that topic, and then share the new information, okay? And then that's going to be kind of create an outline for yourself, right? Let me close this. And then all I'm going to ask you to do is take a photo of it and submit it here by Wednesday night. And I'm going to add a little bit more here. I just realized you're going to need to embed that photo, okay? Anyway, well, I'll add more there and instructions on how to do that. But that's a really helpful exercise in helping us. And this next part is just simply, there's nothing that needs to be turned in here, but it kind of shows you how to create a kind of outline that would help you organize your essay. So look over that, use this. I'm asking you to read this and use it and apply it as you organize your essay.